Hi everyone, welcome to HelloKindness. Today we are diving into a topic that's really close to my heart. Understanding our four selves. The physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects of who we are. So I want to really start exploring what these four selves mean first, and then I will share how they're all interconnected. Stick around to see how stress in one area can impact all four dimensions. So first, let's talk about our physical self. This part I think is very easy to understand because it's all about our body, and in conventional thinking, there are three main areas that directly affect our physical well-being. Number one, nutrition and diet. So what we eat, we all know play a crucial role in our physical health. Think of our body like a high performance engine, and what you put into it greatly affects how it runs, right? Because that's the fuel that energizes you. Number two is the physical activity and exercise. So we all know regular exercise strengthens our heart, lungs, muscles, and bones. And basically, it just boosts our immune system because we're actively working on the engine. Number three, sleep and rest. In today's society, sadly, we all complain that we don't have enough sleep. But we know sleep allows our body to repair itself without putting any drug into ourselves. So it's crucial to use sleep as a physical recovery and also for brain functions. Now I want to jump into the second dimension, the mental self. The mental self is the part that helps us to reason, to be logic, to process cognitively. The mental dimension is just basically our intellect. It helps us to process logic, beliefs, and our values. So the state of our mind profoundly influences our life experience. And it can either be a valuable, invaluable asset that provides clarity and understanding, or it can significantly become a challenge, leading to confusion. So think about it. When we have a clear, sharp mental state, it allows us to think clearly, be more open-minded, and it helps us to make better decisions. So our mental faculties play a crucial role in processing and assimilating knowledge and wisdom, which are intuitively understood by our inner selves. And I want to share an example that can illustrate nicely how we can perceive our mental dimension. Okay. So in today's society, don't you think it's very easy to fall into the trap of selective bias? Because either we consciously or subconsciously seek out information that only supports our personal bias. And we neglect or don't even care about the perspective on the other side. Sometimes, like I said, we do it consciously, sometimes we do it subconsciously or unconsciously. And most of the time, sad to say, it's related to topics like the political environment or the social landscape. So we continue to seek out and feed ourselves only with information just to prepare ourselves to win an argument. And then I can agree, sometimes I fall into that trap as well. And I practice meditation, and then I think with a higher degree of awareness, it helps us to make us stronger in our mental dimension. And I think overall, in order to really develop a strong mental self, it's important to stay open-minded, willing to accept and explore viewpoints from different sides. Let me share with you with this example. If we are on one side of a coin, we can only see the perspective on either the head side or the tail side. But it's only when we practice standing on the edge of a coin that we're able to see the viewpoints from both sides. We're able to kind of peek left and right and kind of process internally without making immediate judgment, and then just hear them out. And I think by developing our willingness to accept viewpoints from a variety of perspectives, we can keep our mental self healthy and sharp. Okay, now let's dive into the third dimension, the emotional self. This is where our feelings and emotions reside. In our journey of self-awareness, the emotional aspect is key. It acts as a bridge connecting our physical and spiritual selves. And I think this part of us is all about feelings and being deeply and experiencing life fully. Is what shapes our relationships with ourselves and others. Driving us to form meaningful connections. By nurturing our emotional side, we unlock the true fulfillment of our activities and interactions. So for example, when we look at some celebrities and famous individuals, it's easy to think they've got it all. But do they? We would think they have all the fame, fortune, and success. Everything that on the surface seems to bring happiness. And in the mental faculty, I think we would assume they should be the best example of joy and contentment. But I think here's the starting truth. Many celebrities have openly shared their struggles with emotional well-being. And because despite their material success, they're facing deeper inner self challenges such as anxiety or simply a lack of fulfillment. And I want to share this clip that I saw the other day. So recently I watched an interview between Jada Pinkett Smith and with Jay Shetty. And Jada genuinely shared her life experiences and how it is important to pay attention to our inner self, to our inner emotional self, because that is our foundation of well-being.
And let me tell you, I had an existential drop in realizing, hold it, wait a minute, hold it. Like, my career is popping. I got money. I'm hot.
People are pursuing you.
I got every dude everywhere wanting it. You know what I mean? Like, I can have anybody I want. Why am I not happy?
And I think what's important for us to know, sometimes you get all this material success, but it doesn't mean that it's everything. Okay? Material success, although sometimes is important, you want to feed yourself, you want to put a roof, you want to have the basic things, but it doesn't guarantee you a better mental and emotional self. External achievements such as success, having the money, it doesn't automatically lead you to internal joy and peace. And I think this doesn't mean that material success is bad, but it just emphasizes that the need to nurture our inside, our emotional self. It's about finding joy and stability within, which isn't dependent on external factors. Because I think true happiness and emotional stability often come from simpler things. For me, is hanging out with my children, talking with friends, and walking around the neighborhood, meditate, and just deriving meanings from the simple things, the simplest things. And I think that's how we can nurture our inner self and get the personal growth and gain the inner peace. It's all about balancing something external that we pursue and also with internal care. So the fourth dimension is our spiritual self. And perhaps I think that's one of the four that we neglect the most because it's more deep, it's more internal. Sometimes we don't know even how to explain our spiritual self. Okay? And that's the most personal and it's the most diverse aspect of our being because it transcends, yes, that's a good word, it transcends the boundaries of our physical, mental, and emotional selves. Tapping into something deeper that is greater than just ourselves, it's more profound. So for many, I think the spiritual journey is intertwined with many religious teachings and beliefs. Those teachings would offer a very structured path to understanding life's deeper meaning. But for others who are not part of any religions, they may find spiritual fulfillment through meditations, engaging in reflective practicings through self-discovery. Many people you probably have heard of the story that people who have the best jobs, seems like from the outside they are winning in every area, and then they would just let go everything, and then lead a life by finding things to help them discover the purpose why they're here. And oftentimes that's how they transcend themselves. I'm not suggesting that everyone should do that, but there are many cases. You probably have heard stories about that, right? So it's the spiritual self is help us to reflect, and it help us to find a deeper meaning, help us to achieve that inner calm and connectedness. Yes, the word connectedness, I really like that because it helps us to feel like we are part of a whole, and everything else is part of us. So there are also those who I think explore spirituality through many other teachings that I may not be mentioning right now. Okay, it's so personal. You will find your own unique way to help you enhance the spiritual dimension. Okay, so whatever way that you pick, each one can give you unique insight into your nature of existence and in our place in the universe. And I think what's important for us to remember about the spiritual self is how deeply personal it is. It's a journey for you to discover what truly resonates with you, guiding you toward a sense of wholeness and fulfillment that goes beyond our everyday experiences. And here I would like to share a short snippet from the mindfulness teacher that I follow, Eckhart Tolle. And in his book, The Power of Now, which I would recommend everyone to read, in his interview that he had with Dave Rubin, Mr. Tolle shared a very simple way to help us connect with our spiritual well-being, our spiritual self. And that's what he called by taking the conscious breath.
This is a very ancient and very simple method. By becoming aware that you are breathing, you're becoming, I call it, it's a mini meditation, one conscious breath, which is the in-breath, and you follow the breath with your attention. You feel it, the air moving into the body. You might even feel it into your abdomen, the energy, and then you breathe out.
So after watching that, don't you think it's ridiculous to argue that we are so busy in our lives that we cannot spend a moment taking a few conscious breaths? Wasn't that amazing? I mean, he illustrated so beautifully. To me personally, I think the word connectedness, like I said, is the key. Feeling that we are part of something that you don't know, maybe intellectually you don't know, but you can feel it inside that you're connected with it. It could be a plant, it could be an animal, it could be someone that opened the door for you that you don't even know them, but you feel that connectedness. So connectedness is very meaningful in developing our spiritual self. I meditate, so I would recommend some form of meditative exercise, such as spending moments consciously breathing, being aware of our breath, being aware of our surrounding. Those can help us to connect to our own selves. And it opens our gateway to connect with our surroundings and also other people. So those reflective meditative practice help us to enhance our connectedness. Thus, it improves our spiritual selves. Okay, so I hope we all can find some time, just like what the teacher Eckhart Tolle said. If you don't have time to meditate 5 or 10 minutes every day in the morning, or find some part of your day, just take 3 conscious breaths, just like this. Put your awareness to your nose or mouth, however you breathe. Just be aware how it feels, just like this. You don't have to establish any particular pace. Just know how the air goes through in my nose, my body, and exhale. Just by simply having attention to the process, that's conscious breathing. Don't you think so? Okay, so the second part of this video, I want to share 3 examples and perspectives on how stress in one area can affect the other dimensions. Example 1 is how stress can impact your emotional and mental self when we have stress in physically. So when you experience physical stress like being sick, injury, or fatigue, it can lead to mental slowness or mental fog makes it very difficult for you to think clearly and make decision. Because let's get real for a moment. Think about the last time you were under the weather or didn't get enough sleep. Did you notice any change in how you think or react to others? Because I know when I'm sick, my usual patience with my kids can start to wear out quickly. And I've noticed I'm not alone in this because I talk to my friends, they all share the same thing because we're not perfect. It's not something any of us want, but it just happens. When our body is not well, it's like our mental and emotional resources get redirected to treating the physical stress. Our brain is not functioning well, making decision is so difficult, and emotionally we can swing into being so irritable and or anxious without even realizing it. So this is why it's so important to be mindful of our physical health. Not just for the sake of our own bodies, but for our mental and emotional well-being. Because when we recognize this connection, it helps us to be more patient with ourselves and understand that we're not perfect, okay? And understanding how important it is for self-care. When we take care of our body, we just feel better. We know that, okay? So get enough sleep, have good nutrition, and because you're not just affecting your body, when your body is not well, it will affect your all three dimensions, just like what I shared with you. And now I want to share my second example, how emotional stress can affect our physical self. So the first we talk about our physical self can affect our mental self, but our emotional stress can affect us physically as well. So we know in a world we often would reach for a pill to fix our physical illness. But it's also important, I think, to consider another layer to this, our emotional well-being. Because from my personal observations and experience, I've seen how deeply our emotional state can affect our physical body. It's like our emotions are speaking to us through the physical symptoms, through the stress, through the anxiety, through the unresolved trauma. These emotional challenges can make us to have chronic pain all over the places. We feel like we're not digesting stuff. We feel headache. We feel cramps. We feel all this, but it could be like the things that I just mentioned, the emotional stress that we have beneath us, inside of us, is manifesting those symptoms physically. Okay, so here's the thing, I think. So treating a physical symptom with medication can be needed at times, but it might not always address the root cause, if that cause is emotional. Because it's like putting a band-aid on our wound without cleaning it first. Cleaning it means like we want to address the underlying issue remains, the emotional, whatever that may be. Okay, so this is where understanding and addressing our emotional health becomes so important, because by acknowledging our emotional well-being, our emotional state, our mental state, we understand they are all intertwined with our physical well-being. So what can we do about it? Let me share with you some examples, I think. Maybe just simply give more attention to our emotional health. Sometimes we're so busy, we think everything is okay. We might just suppress so many things internally without letting it out. So something that helps is like seeking therapy. I've been into therapy before just to find a professional that I think can help me to deal with the things that, the inner voices, the things that maybe your family want to help, but they're not the right people because they're not professionally trained. And I see a lot of that. And I practice meditation, which I've mentioned. So mindfulness practice like meditation, or simply just create space for yourself. Create more space, more me time for ourselves to process the underlying emotions that we don't deal with. So because I think it's really about the holistic healing, treating not just the body, but the mind and heart as well. So I think that's how we can see when we are able to look inward. I used to not being able to sleep well. I mean, I've always not the best person to sleep, like have the best sleep. And then at a point of my life, I just couldn't sleep at all. I mean, I had very terrible. It becomes really scary. And then through, I think, dealing with things that I don't even know that I may be suppressing out my internal well-being, my mental and my mental, emotional, and spiritual self. And now I think the things become more clear. And I can say that I understand things will continue to change and evolve, but I sleep very well right now, and I'm very grateful for that. And in my last example, the mental stress part that can affect our spiritual dimension. So we all know the mental stress. It could be that we have too much stress, maybe from work, like we have a lot to do. But in my final example, I want to flip it aside. Okay, I want to flip it. It's not because we're too busy or overwhelmed that give us the mental stress, but it's actually the opposite. Because we're not challenged enough. Imagine waking up every day to a job or something that you do, like a routine that doesn't inspire you. You're not enjoying it. It doesn't challenge you. It might sound comfortable at first, right? But over time, don't you think this comfort zone can become a zone of stagnation? Because when our minds are not engaged, we're not learning, we're not growing, we're not being challenged enough. This is the kind of mental stress that creeps in slowly, gradually. A stress of unfulfillment, a stress of what's the meaning, what's the purpose. Because your purpose, it doesn't just give to you. You have to derive, you have to discover it, I think. If every day feels like just going through the motions and it's not just boredom you're facing, it's a deeper kind of disconnectedness, a mental fatigue because you're not being challenged enough in your mind. It's your mind craving something more, something that sparks your passion and curiosity. I'm thinking back, sometimes I fall into that trap as well, being comfortable to where I'm at, sometimes you just being complacent, and that's really not what I want to be. And it takes conscious effort to make it, to practice, to make it a part of your everyday that inspire you. And I think this part, this is where it ties deeply into our spiritual well-being, because our spirit, our great connectedness, our inner self thrives on growth. And when we're not challenged enough, we just couldn't find the purpose or meaning. So when our mental world at work or whatever you do is not nourished with challenges and inspirations, I just think our spiritual selves feel it too. It's like our inner spark slowly dims down until we're completely obstructed. But don't give up. We can always take a step. We can always, starting right now, to find the inspiration that we need. Because I think we don't want to keep on questioning our purpose, our place in the world, and even what's our passion, right? But the good part, let's say, what can we do about it, right? I think first, it's about recognizing the importance of mental stimulation, finding the connection that can enhances our spiritual health, finding ways to work or hobbies to challenge ourselves, to step out of the comfort zone, taking on new project, learning a new skill, dance. If you don't like to dance that you always wanted, go ahead. You want to play certain sports, go ahead, take lessons. When your routine becomes bored, throw in something else just to bring back that spark. We all can do that. Let's not underestimate the power of a challenge and engaged mind, I think. It's not just about intellectual satisfaction. It's about nurturing our spiritual selves, keeping that inner flame going alive. So I encourage you to find your challenge, your spark. So in conclusion, today I've talked very long. It's one of my longest videos that I recorded. I hope you enjoyed today's video and learned a lot more. I try my best to present it in a way that is understandable. I'm learning along with you. I really think that these four selves, what I shared today is very important. I hope you get some insight, get anything from it. Because I think, remember, when one is out of balance, when one of the four selves is out of balance, it affects the other areas. It's about finding the harmony. So what do you think? I mean, how would you balance your four selves? I would really love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments. Please, if you have any comments for me, how I can improve, let me know. But if you found this discussions helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. I think longer form content allow me to really elaborate on certain topics. Don't forget to hit the bell icon and for notifications. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to be kind to all four selves, all four of yourselves. See you in your next video. Thank you.